Tate. Okay, let's talk about Tate. I don't think we need to say anything for people to realize we like what he says and how he challenges the people of power, and he goes and targets them and all that stuff. He's a very, very, very good communicator. By the way, potentially the best communicator in the world today. He could potentially be the best communicator in the world today, and I don't know if I put anybody ahead of him.
Wow.
Who do you put ahead of him as a communicator?
Talker. He's a talker.
He's an incredible communicator, the way he delivers his message, right? Okay. All right, so he's trying to get out of he's still in detention, trying to end detention in Romania. They're not giving him the opportunity to come out. Who knows what's going to end up happening with this year? We're in talks with his lawyer. I'd like to talk to his lawyer, to have him on, and to have a fair conversation with him, just some questions that I want to ask this guy. We'll see what happened there. All right, so you look at Tate with this scenario. Some things came back with Vice, a recording of a guy that he once interviewed with that started asking him all these questions, and then Tate's like, man, where are you going with this? They stopped the interview. That guy follows up and finds the girls, gets recording. Now Vice is coming out with something today. No one knows what's going to be said, but some of the WhatsApp recordings came back, and certain statements that he made, et cetera, and everyone's texting me saying, you support this guy, you support that, you support this, you support that. I'm able to isolate areas that Tate crushes the globalists and crushes the people of power that love to bully. And I'm able to isolate that and say, man, what a freaking way of doing it. Mm-hmm. Good for you, guy. Keep challenging the status quo and keep pushing these guys. But I'm able to isolate and say, what are you doing sending audio recordings on WhatsApp? Do you think you're untouchable? None of us are. And then I'm able to isolate and see his relationship with his brother and say, man, tell me you wouldn't want to have a brother that has your back the way they have each other's back. And then I'm able to isolate and in my own mind say, what was the upbringing like to have a father and a mother the way they did him, the two of them and their sisters, and kind of say, maybe, and then isolate and why they fought, and isolate how disciplined they are in certain areas, and then isolate and, hey, what you're doing with the way you're making money, and isolate. You ought to be able to isolate these different areas instead of just saying, hey, everybody falls in the same camp. No. And again, earlier when we were talking about, how about this person? Does that person get the 50-50, all this stuff? We still don't know. Things still got to come out to see what's going to happen with this. And when we have the conversation with the lawyer, we'll have follow-ups. So that's the part when you're looking at this. We have to isolate and see what happened with COVID. Who got it wrong? Did Fauci get it wrong? Let's isolate. Let's address this, and let's make sure it never, ever happens again, right? We had audio issues today on the podcast. This is the second time in 2 days. My message was to our guys? Guys, this can't happen. We have to isolate this concern. What is causing it? Let's get to the bare bottom of what is the root cause of this. So once we learn what happened with COVID, who effed up, we got to move on. If Fauci effed up and used powers and other people empowered him, they got to be held accountable. What the hell happened with Afghanistan? We just lost $82 billion of weapons there. What the hell happened with Iraq? 20 years. What happened? What happened with Iran? What happened with this? Isolate, move on, learn, and cause people to realize if you do this again and you use this method of abusing people to make money, and you take deals from other countries and you give access to them of what we're doing, insider information, you deserve to go to jail. Isn't there a name for that? What's the name for that? Is it treason or
trading?
Or no. What happens when you're giving the enemy information about what we're doing?
What is treason?
Treason, right?
Treason. That's death.
Listen, and by the way, I'm convinced.
Benedict Arnold.
I'm convinced there was some of that happened the last few years. Those people, it's the ultimate accountability.
I agree 100%.
The ultimate accountability, which is why if we, by the way, I'll pause you. I've been going for a minute. Any thoughts you guys got on Tate? I'll pause because I want to go into the Prince Harry stuff, and then we'll wrap it up.
Well, I think what you're basically saying is not everyone is all good and all bad. We all have a little bit of black and white, and it's not all black and white. Everyone has a little gray area. I agree with you. On one hand, I could think Tate is a freaking stud, an awesome speaker, and has a great message and male empowerment and self-improvement, and that's awesome. And a lot of what he says, I fully advocate and agree with. But I could also sit here and be like, he might have done some of this sex trafficking shit.
You never know.
I don't know. I wasn't there. None of us were. Yep. So to blindly trust someone and blindly follow them is going to get yourself in hot water, whether it's Republican or Democrat or this influencer or that influencer. And I agree with you. Everything should be, what's a term that you like to use that you've been using to isolate?
Isolate, yeah.
So, yeah, I think if you want to isolate each of the components of what Tate stands for, I think there's a lot more positive than negative.
I think that's what great coaches do. They isolate. Listen, Johnny, you're our best defender.
Yeah.
But man, you're lazy to get that rebound.
Yeah.
Okay. Great job on the defense side. You're terrible on the And in the locker room, sometimes you say stuff that's off. Like you bitch too much. Like bring the team together. We have to isolate areas.
But it's like you ever play video games, Madden, sports?
Yes.
And they give every athlete their breakdown, their score. All right, so hustle, they're 92%. Offense, they're 85%. Defense, they're only 62%. Effort, teammate, and everyone has their different score in different categories, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I try to, every day I say health, wealth, happiness. Health, wealth, happiness. All right, how's my health today? I fucking feel great. I'm doing it. I just worked out. Yeah, I kind of went out and drank too much. My health, wealth. All right, I make some money. All right, now paycheck to paycheck, whatever. Happiness. Am I happy? Am I not? Like I'm constantly 1 through 10ing myself, and your score can constantly be malleable and moving around. So to get back to Tate, there's a lot of high scores, a lot, but there's also some high negative scores that could end up biting you in the ass.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What are your thoughts on Tate?
I'm happy that you said it too. And my thing is, everything that you said is like, and I think we can't be quick to judge because Americans love doing that shit. Rape, we saw rape. It's like you don't know shit. I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know nothing about this guy in that capacity. But you could overhear now, and especially with all this AI and all this shit, any voice recording now, it might not even be you. I don't trust any of that shit, bro. I don't trust any of it. I saw a video where somebody made Barack Obama was sitting there and speaking. It wasn't him. It looked exactly like him, and this was years ago, bro. Who knows that? So like I said, we're quick to judge. Slow down. Give the person the benefit of the doubt until it's real, but then you nail it. Held them accountable when this shit does come out. So
we'll go back to Pat and we'll wrap this up. But I think what we're really talking about here is the thing called intellectual honesty. And intellectual honesty is going into evaluate something, isolating the issue, and just being really objective about what you see. And the weakest debaters you will ever encounter are the ones that have to slip in the but what about them or not as bad as the other. And that's the whole pendulum thing. It's like they can't intellectually honestly look at something, isolate it, evaluate it with a critical eye and objectivity, and then leave it be. It represents a threat to their side, so they got to pull in the other bit. But what about them? But it wasn't as bad as this. And that is just weak-willed arguing that great jurists in this country, when you read about the Supreme Court justice and some of the great jurists we've had, have the ability, what they call, it's not carrying a rope into the courthouse, right? You're not bringing in something with you that's going to judge your ultimate decision. You intellectually, honestly look at it. And I think that's what we're talking about here. And I think that the media has lost the way to do it. And I think if you look at yourself in the mirror, at times each one of us loses the ability to do that. And this is what Pat's talking about. Isolate it, judge it, assess it to the benefit of our audience who wants to know and wants to hear these
move
views.
On.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.